Hi, it's me again. Another reading from Ardamin clone number 7. I think this is part 5. Unexpectedly, the controller spoke. Its voice was cold and raspy. "Do you require more water?" it asked. Ardamin stared at the controller's cat-like yellow eyes. There wasn't much light, but he could make out those eyes clearly. "Water?" it asked again. This time, a third bottle appeared at his lips, but he shook his head. "No," he managed to stammer out. You speak?" "It is something I have done before since joining with this body, but I rarely need to. When I need to, I have the ability to communicate vocally," it answered. "I'm confused." The controller just stared blankly at him. "I mean, if you can communicate with us, why not try before now?" "We have communicated with others before now. The one you call Tico, for example. We had to communicate with him in order to lay our trap for you." "Trap? I went off course because of a failure in a flight computer." "No, it did not. We controlled your aircraft remotely from the station at the impact crater. It took a while to establish communications with your aircraft. Encrypted communications on such a primitive level are difficult, but we eventually managed to establish a good link between the station and your craft." "But what? How? I mean, you don't know where we take off from." "We have a number of your bases under constant observation. We watch your craft take off and land." "Why haven't you sent a horde to kill us then?" "We are curious." "Curious?" Ardamin was really confused. "We are curious of your cloning technology, your ability to reject our conversion, your self-destruct mechanism. These are just some of the things we are curious about. There is only so much we can learn from an autopsy and less from reanimation, but a live specimen, that is something we can learn from." A shiver ran up his spine. Something had caught his mind. Self-destruct, he thought. Nobody ever mentioned that there was a self-destruct mechanism built in. Surely you would have to know whether or not you had one so that you could utilize it before capture. "You are thinking of why your self-destruct mechanism has failed." The cold of the early morning air and the coldness of the voice made Ardamin's spine shiver again. No, I'm really thinking why I wasn't told about it. Or don't I have one? Once again, he kept his thoughts to himself. We made sure to use electricity to stop you, to interfere with your internal circuitry. Enough low amperage, high voltage should have shut a number of your internal processors down. We are not sure for how long, but I suppose we will find out when you expire. Ardamin said nothing. His mind was racing. He was flexing his chained muscles. Everything seemed to be working. He searched for a self-destruct mechanism within his self-diagnostic program. It was more for physical diagnostics. But to his surprise, it also seemed that he had software to diagnose as well. He didn't seem to find anything that resembled a self-destruct, hardware or software. He was still trying to accept that he had software in his brain. Perhaps it wasn't a conscious decision to self-destruct. Perhaps it was the nanomachines that ran throughout his body that self-destructed, turning his organs into liquid. What do you mean, when I expire? You're going to kill me after taking so much effort to capture me? I would have thought that obvious. Once we learn all we can from your living body, we will find out what we can from your dead one. I believe you call it interrogation, then vivisection, followed by autopsy. You don't give a person any hope, do you? Hope? You're a soldier for the enemy. Why would we give you hope? Fair and reasonable treatment of the enemy prisoners is something we do here. We look after our prisoners of war and return them after the war is over, alive and unhurt. Is that how you treat your prisoners? Your history suggests otherwise. We have read and seen the video testaments of your Second World War. Even how Americans treated prisoners of the Iraq conflict. And what of the prisoners of Guantanamo Bay? These were prisoners of war, were they not? Why were they not treated as you suggest? There were... His voice trailed off. Ardamin knew that the alien was right. America should have the high ground when it came to treatment of POWs. But America had dropped the ball some time ago. It seemed that there was no point in trying to reason his way out of this. It seemed that his concepts of right and wrong would not appeal to the alien, stymied by the actions of those who feared America's enemies in the past. I know my fate. His head slumped a little. You are tired now, it asked him. You need to rest. I can go on, Matt said defiantly. No, I believe you need rest. You will rest in this. A large rectangular box, long enough to fit him, wide enough to fit two of him, and it had a thin mattress inside it. And that's where I'll leave it. I'm sorry that one took a bit longer. It was doing the voice, slowing it down and that sort of thing. So hopefully you enjoyed it. For those of you that asked me to do voices, I hope you enjoyed the voices. You can always tell me to give up the voices. I have no problem with that. In the meantime, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, itchy, 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 itchy. Yeah. Okay. People have also been complaining that I don't use voices, that I read everything in my own voice. I think we'll leave it there, eh? No, I'll continue. Now I'm going to have to stop, have a drink, because doing that voice is not easy. Don't know why I picked that voice for it.